Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Analyst Desk. I'm your host, Veli, and I'm here with Bach and Bansili, and we just came off of a red-hot series where we saw Cloud9 Blue lose and go straight down to the losers bracket. They're going to wait for the winners of this upcoming series, but before we get to that, I just want to reflect for a moment. We have our very first team locked in for NA to go to Iceland and represent all of us, and it's going to be none other than Sentinels. Bansili, we're in good hands, right?
I think we're going to be in good hands. Despite me not predicting going into this tournament that Sentinels wasn't going to make it, still very happy that they are going to be representing North America, and it just makes sense that they're the first team to represent that as well. I mean, it's nothing but a great run for them.
It's a good story all around, but let's take a look at the bracket to see how things unfolded and where we're at now currently. Right now on the screen, we're going to get Version1 versus Envy, and in front of them is going to be Cloud9 Blue, but it's pretty much the journey to get there is what's going to make it all that much more beautiful. Version1 got knocked down here against Sentinels, and it was a really close game where they lost 1-2, but they worked their way back, beating NRG, beating Anbox, and now they're going to face off against Envy, who has had close games as well, knocking out Xset and 100 Thieves. That was absolutely insane, but let's talk about the rosters for just a moment. Let's bring up Envy for a moment, and Bach, there's no better person to talk about this too. Yesterday, there was something pretty important that came up on the desk, and it had to do with the utility that we saw from Envy. And it wasn't that it was bad at all. It was really good, and we saw so much more potential in the future with it.
Yeah, so last night, after we watched their last match, we were talking about Mummy and the impact that playing Astra has had on Mummy's performance. And I wanted to really badly go back and actually check from when he switched to Jet to Omen if there was a performance deterioration, and then see from Omen to Astra and then compare. Yeah. I didn't have the opportunity to do so, but ultimately, when you look at the numbers, you can see it pretty clear. You're looking at a Mummy who was this star player when they were under a different name, and then as he's had to switch roles over time, his performance has definitely declined. And I asked him, I said, you know, hey, I want you to know flat out up front, Anthony, I wasn't trying to bash you on the desk, but I just don't feel like this agent works for you. And he said, you know what? I kind of don't feel like it works for me either. But what he did say was what I liked the most. He said, I will do whatever I need to do to put my team in a position to win. It was this selflessness to say, I will set myself aside. And even though I love playing Jet, I love running around, I love being the top performer. There's obviously a lot of praise and fanfare that comes with that. Ultimately, what matters is the win. I want to get the win. And in order to get the win, you have to play Astra, and that's what he knows he's got to do. So sure, it's going to hurt his numbers, but as long as the team is still winning, he doesn't care. And I found that actually pretty awesome.
Yes, at the end of the day, the W is all that matters. And Bansili, I'm going to need your help breaking down Version1 with me as well. On paper, Bansili, if I would have told you they were going to be here in the in competition to go to Iceland, most people would have probably called me crazy. But Effie's Penny, Vanity, Whoopi, and Zelsis has popped off, and I'm going to be honest, I'm so sold on Zelsis. He is a scary player when he's on.
I'm definitely sold on this team. Even my dog is whimpering a bit to say, oh, I agree as well. Like, you look at this roster, taking the memes aside, as I've mentioned before, they have a lot of firepower onto this team. And one that I haven't seen yet, right, because it's always been going on that B stream, is Whoopi.
Yes.
And Whoopi dropped the 30 bomb yesterday in his matchups where he's been playing Valorant for a bit, but people haven't really been hearing about him a lot. So for him to join right now for Version1, having a big test versus Envy, it's going to be fun to watch.
It's going to be really fun to watch, but let's watch this head-to-head that we're going to have. We've been running through these player versus player options throughout every series that we've had so far, and it hasn't disappointed. You saw last series how it was just so relevant in that case, but right now, it's going to be the two top dogs, the duelists on the teams. It's going to be Victor from Envy and Version1. It's going to be all Zelsis. Bach, both these players are equally as scary.
Of course. I mean, we are Zelsis, right? Everyone wants to talk about Zelsis. Victor, even though he's not as good as Food, you know, that old player they used to have, whatever. No, but seriously, like looking at Vic, yesterday Victor had a much better performance than he had on day one. Day one really felt off. And on top of that, they had him flexing into different agent roles. We saw the Sky come out, and I wasn't really loving the Sky for him. I really like him as a Phoenix. So yesterday we saw him more hard-locked on the Phoenix, and it really worked. It clicked. Zelsis on the flip side, fantastic player, really facilitating that role for Version1. it's going to be a matter of how are they going to compare against one another. Because again, Version 1 hasn't really played a lot of the teams here. They've struggled to make it to this level of competition. This is the first time they've qualified. That's what makes this so bonkers. It's like the first time they qualified for challengers, the first time they make it out of that, the first time they do this, the first time they like one of the first bigger events they actually qualify, they have a chance to go to LAN. That's a pretty incredible story considering how
right now.
short this team has been together.
There's no better time than the first time, Bach. And the biggest difference between the two players is the fact that Victor is mainly used as an entry compared to Zelsis. Zelsis loves those 1v1 isolated fights, though. But Vansili, we finally got our maps in. And when it comes to the maps that both of these teams thrive on, let's take a look at the poll. And I want you to tell me who won this map contest veto system between the two.
Oof. I think the bigger test right now is definitely going to be for Version 1. Having Split being picked, though, by Version 1, it was a great one-sided victory they got versus Envy. That's where they're going to have a chance to bring us to a 3-map series. If not, it's probably going to be an Envy 2-0.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the players are locked in and ready just about, and we're going to have an elimination game. Team Envy versus Version 1. The winner of this does not go to Iceland, but they're going to have a chance to go to Iceland by beating Cloud9 Blue in the series that's waiting after this. So we're going to send this over to the casters, and let's have one hell of a game.
Thank you, gentlemen, once more as we have transitioned now into this next matchup, Version 1 and Envy. And this, again, it's this Titan Slayer in Version 1. You heard the desk say it. It's their first time really making it somewhere, and they're making a huge statement in doing so. And Envy, they got some splaining to do. What are they doing down here in the lowers, right? This is one of the top 4 teams in North America for so long, so they really need to show up here, not only in this one, just for the chance to qualify for Iceland in another come-up match. So these two teams, it's like what is it, the sensei and like the young grasshopper right here, I feel like.
No, that's like I guess an apt description. I mean, when you think about this Envy organization, the core of, you know, Finesse, Mummy, and Caboose, they have only placed outside of the top 6 twice in the 17 events they have played since July of 2020, and they have very often been top 4, and they have had several finals appearances and a couple of titles to boot. Like you said, they have consistently been a top 4 force in the NA region, but top 4 isn't good enough in this tournament. You got to be in the grand finals, and Envy, as you said, got knocked down earlier than we would have ever expected with the loss to Cloud9 Blue, so they are trying to fight for that rematch, but they have run a little bit of a gauntlet in the lower bracket, taking out dangerous teams like Exit and 100 Thieves along the way to make sure that they're still in contention. But as you said, Version 1, while they have not been together for very long, only really a few months, and some of these players have only recently made a transition to Valorant, and then Whippy really just hopping on board very recently in his own right, have already been able to like win a small C-tier tournament. They've been able to do fairly well in this Stage 2 event. And, you know, they are definitely like a viable team, right? I mean, they've only played a couple of big name teams along the way, but they've beaten BBG, they've beaten Cloud9, they've been able to beat teams like Renegades and FaZe. Like, they've definitely at times shown to be very powerful. Now, the last time they met against Envy, they did lose a series 1-2, and all the maps were like really lopsided. It was like a really weird 3-map series where like every map was just like all over the place. But now we're going to start seeing the agent select. And Vanity has been, you know, going for the Asher a little bit lately, so I'm not too surprised to see that. Zelsis and Penny obviously always run that double duelist composition for Version 1, so that doesn't really jump off the page either as we come into Split. So I'm not necessarily seeing anything that, like, really shocks me coming into Split. Like, I feel like we've been seeing this crashy sky thing fairly often on this map. I mean, more often than not. So, yeah, everything's kind of sliding into place, I guess you would say.
It was a hover of the Sova from Whippy. I thought maybe we see some crazy wrench thrown into things as far as compositions. You really got to know your lineups for that one. But it is going to be that Viper.
Yep.
And this is interesting because they bring the Viper what feels like just about everywhere. Yesterday they were playing it on Haven. They've obviously got it here, so the proficiency is there for Whippy. And as we've got that blank screen for Victor, it is going to be the Raze locked in for that duelist. So not necessarily mirrored as a whole. I'm ready for this one.
Yeah, again, both these teams come in very like similar numbers on Split, right? Both teams are kind of near that 75% win rate on the map. Both teams obviously bolstering that really strong defensive side as opposed to their attacking side, though I would say Envy are pretty proficient on both. The difference being is that the last time they met, Version 1 absolutely wiped the floor with them on Split. They beat them 13-3, including 10 attacking rounds, really flipping the script on how strong, you know, Envy are supposed to be defensively. So that's kind of the one storyline that's kind of looming out there. But, I mean, other than that, on average, Envy are the more proven team. This is one of their best maps. And I imagine that they're thinking to themselves that, you know, the last time was a bit of a fluke and they need to just get back to doing business, because historically speaking, Split has been their best map. It's been their bread and butter. They've built a lot of their success off of competing on this map throughout the last several months, and I imagine they want to get back to that.
Early aggression, Whippy to shut it down, though. Victor was trying to catch him off guard on the back end of that Trailblazer. Crashy's in the back pocket, not going to find it, and sure, things have since halted since then. That's a huge first kill to have in this one.
Oh, absolutely. We'll get right ready to kick off the pistol if you're V1. Now trying to make their way up at A. Rance. Finesse trying to come through it. Crashy's flash, see if he can't even it back up. Crashy's doing a great job grabbing a couple of kills to try to keep it close, but at the end of the day, V1 still stay a step ahead as they are now looking to go ahead and come into A. They already have Zelsis deep in enemy territory here, pushed very deep into A heaven. There is a sewers flank coming right now from Caboose, but it seems like Whippy's aware of its potential. In the meantime, Zelsis is fighting that back halls rotation of Mummy. Oh. Whippy does catch Caboose, and so now it's all on Mummy. 1v3 on the Jet.
And this is, sure, pistol round, right? Could still go either way. Mummy does have the ghost and only needs a couple of headshots to close this one out. But Whippy's so far off the side, is going to be playing the lineups, maybe not even needed. The Cloudburst goes through. Mummy looks to find the shots. Unfortunately, taking a bit of damage before he tailwinds away. He's going to be walking right into the open arms of Vanity and takes him down. No hug for you, he says, with 10 rounds in the magazine on the Frenzy. Needs to find one more on site, and then somehow, some way, needs to dodge out on the snake bites, but that's not going to be the case. It's Zelsis to finish what he started.
Indeed, really well done. Again, like you're talking about, you know, Whippy being on that Viper, very new for him. Obviously, really only playing Omen since he stepped into, you know, Valorant. And he's only played a handful of events, if we're honest. Like, he's only really played since he started playing with, like, Ghost, I guess you could say, like, back in February. And for, you know, a couple of months there with them. And now he's making this transition to stepping in for Version 1. And already doing really well. But I feel like as throughout this game, it's going to come down to this. Zelsis and Penny have been near top 5 both ACS and ADR throughout the tournament, but I have to say that Crash and Victor aren't too far behind, as we're just seeing V1 kind of mop up against the save round here of Envy. So those 4 players are going to be so key, I feel, throughout this series to determine who's going to be on top.
And Envy looking to make it hurt for a second. Unfortunately, not going to find much more than that first, as the Spectre was picked up by Victor, who will look to go to work. And Vanity, this time around, not going to be on the receiving end of a lost gunfight. 2 rounds now swing the way of Version 1, and this is the map that we saw 13-4. It's not something that we expect for Version 1 to do against Envy every single time because of their proficiency on it, but we know just how comfortable this V1 team is.
Yeah, I mean, again, normally Envy, great in this map. V1, same exact thing. So it's one of those things where it's like, it's one team's pick, sure, but I feel like both teams are happy with it. And so Envy, you know, or excuse me, Version 1, I should say, off to a good start. I know we got that little bit flipped up top.
Yeah, it is.
Threw me off there for a second, but I'm staying on my toes best I can. It's going to find the entry here onto Victor. First buy round of the game, and off to a fast start is going to be V1. Mummy trying to fight back with Finesse, and they've been able to at least hang around. They've got it back to even. Regrowth there for Finesse.
That feels pretty good, that full heal coming all the way through, right? Since the nerfs to Sage back in the day, that healing orb doesn't necessarily top you off, but you can use a whole lot of that regrowth. See the health in favor of Envy, although players are even. Paranoia to go through. Penny going to go unchecked, but traded out. Crashes to find another. Now Whippy needs to be huge in this. Unfortunately, not able to do it. It's a Caboose and Crashy sandwich on the kill feed, and it's Envy to pick up there first.
Indeed, it's going to be 2-1 in favor of V1. Again, we'll get that fixed up there up top, don't you worry. But yeah, the other cool thing about this matchup, besides just talking about, you know, how well Victor and Crashes are playing for Envy and how well we're seeing this Zelsis and Penny duelist composition and how well they've been performing, is that both these teams love to play that aggressive style. And so that means you're going to see just a lot of, like, chaos and fireworks and just explosiveness. I mean, Envy has always been that way, and V1 certainly trying to bring that style to this map as well. And so now we do got everything fixed up top. Good to go. As you can see, in V, a little bit behind, but did fight back in that opening gun round very well. Great retake.
Daggers popped by Penny. Forced to dash way through the toxic screen. Spotted up into heaven, and Victor takes him down to the only player without a weapon. It was just the ultimate online, and Envy pick up 3 early in this round. It's 2 traded right back. Effie's and Vanity. 1 kill away from ults for both of them.
Absolutely. Again, when you're playing this fast and you're fragging out this hard, those ults are going to come to play rather quickly. As it is savoring Envy. No retake this time. Spike down in awkward position inside the site, but Effie's catching crashes, equals the numbers, and maybe gives them a way back in, but the timing from Victor couldn't be better. They just absolutely crossfire Effie's. He gets it from the front and the back. Vanity was still trying to rotate through sewers. He's going to get here a little bit too late. Now a tough 1v2 ahead of him, but he spots the barrel, gets it into a 1v1.
Spike down on the ground. He's got that cosmic divide. We'll see how he uses it as the stars go down. Unsure of where this player is at, and Caboose will close it out once more. Envy tie us up.
Yeah, unfortunately, Vanny was busy playing a mini game while Caboose was busy getting into position to take care of business. And it's like you get to play a whole different game when you're playing Astra. You get to play a game within a game. And unfortunately, Vanity was not in the right game at the right time. But at the same time, that spray, you got a little concerned. Like, he started to,
True.
It wasn't like a whiff or anything, but it was taking those extra couple of bullets that was maybe giving Vanity a chance to recover if he could get the headshot quick, but it didn't happen, and we're all tied up now.
Yeah, and in that minigame, you also can't hear anything, so doing it solo, it feels a whole
You're
lot
in the
worse.
Astro Realm, bro. What? I mean, of course you're not going to hear
Exactly.
anything.
Yeah, even if Caboose was romping and stomping, it'd be tough to hear that. Victor trying to find some chip damage through the boxes out towards mid. Not going to find anything just yet as the stars get recalled. Nothing really too telling as to where version 1 want to go just yet. It is going to be a little bit of mid control. Viper set up towards A, though. So it really feels like they have a whole lot of options based off their utility.
Oh, absolutely. Getting mid control quickly, as you said, is going to give you a lot of time to work things out and try to figure out what's your best option. As the cam is definitely spotting Zelsis's barrel here, so he knows what's up. Victor trying to play off of it here. We'll get the kill, and he's might have the paint shots at just the right time. Actually, deciding to hold back, waiting for the guiding light to confirm that they're still there. Now uses the paint shells, forcing them out of mailroom and back into middle. They do have vent control here on the V1 side of things, but they are now a man down. They are starting to run out of clock as they're trying to rotate back and forth here. Now they realize that they want to pinch B as they still have that presence inside the B lobby area. I believe that's Vanity that's sitting over there. So yeah, trying to set up some stars and get in.
A beautiful cam there by Finesse to get so much information. They are able to push up for the res, so it is going to be a 5v5, but tagged up. Not taking down the trap wire. He's going to be destroyed, but they're running out of time, like you said, Dust. The clock working against them. Effie's and Vanity's able to get on the board to battle back, and they do still have that man advantage. Op shot going to go wide there. I'm not able to find it. The dagger's going to go wide as well, and it's starting to fall apart as Victor tries to hang on. Time has since been reset as the spike was planted. He'll drop down to plan back towards this defender side. It spawned into the back alley, but it's the Ferrari swing, or the Segway swing is what I wanted to call it, from Vanity. Not using his feet, but the wheels that come around the corner. The run and gun puts version 1 back in the lead.
You wouldn't think that Nerf darts would hurt that much, but apparently in this world, they frag out. These daggers being missed is like one of those just like tough to watch moments, because it definitely had impact on, and you wonder how they missed, because the dude was literally in his face. Just a tough pill to swallow there. Big round from V1. They looked a step behind, but they were able to get the res off, able to just kind of overwhelm that B site. Mummy misses that kind of aggressive opportunity, and it just kind of unravels from there. And now Envy have to take a save. A great chance for V1 to start building that lead up here early. Again, they come in as the underdog, the less experienced team, the less proven unit, against a consistent top 4 team in the region who made a big roster change a little while back, bringing on Victor, bringing on Crashies, but it's done nothing but wonders for them since. And that's just, Sam kind of said in that interview, like, Envy kind of does feel like the team that's most deserving if you just look at past results, but at the end of the day, it still comes down to you having to prove it in the most important matches, which is right here, right now.
It's close angles being held. It's the pistols. Mummy picks up one, dashes away. Too far to upgrade the weapon, so he's just going to take his leave, head on back. Caboose put in a tough spot, tossing on a dark cover. The double spray down from Vanity. is good for a couple of headshots, trying to find some more as Victor looks to swing, chops him down to 5 health. It's not enough to find the kill, and it's a near flawless round on this one as Mummy was the only one able to find a kill early in this round. Could find one more with the Ghost. Unfortunately, there's just nobody here in front of him.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where it's an eco and V1 are getting picks on both sides of the map simultaneously, and so you really never had a chance. I mean, you lost the round before it even started based on the economy, and then it's just like nightmare fuel when you're losing on both ends of the map simultaneously and just don't really have any way to respond or try to throw out a gimmick or really just give yourself any hope at winning. But now, that's all going to change. Back to the bye. Is going to be Envy. No operator, though, for Mummy. I feel like that's a big one, right? Mummy doesn't get to play Jet out very often. But this is one of the maps where he can, and he is so impactful when he has it. And so to not have the economy to grab it, it's kind of devastating, I feel like, for him. Like, if that could really be the X factor. If that Trailblazer ran right by, and I don't know that it would have seen how quick this mid push is happening. Yeah, the timing's unreal, but Victor gets the kill anyway. Well done, Victor.
That timing in response. Understanding that they didn't want to just give up mid for free, so Victor went to go take that position, and he did just that, finding that first kill. He has since given it up. That's a pretty good way to halt a push. Then we look to find their way back into this one. Down 2 rounds. This one would cut that deficit in half, and they're on the rifles, so again, early in this game, when neither team's really gotten anything going, it's kind of been back and forth. That economy this is where it's the most important. Speaking of most important, Mummy in one of the most important spots here as Effie's queued up the wall, not able to find that barrier orb down at the right time. The kill is going to be traded out, and from the shadow is going to be used. That way, Caboose can make his way onto the site with his teammates, and through the dark cover they go. They're finding the kills, and Vanity needs to do something heroic here, or else Envy will find their third.
Yeah, it's looking pretty likely at this point. He doesn't have time either on his side to kind of try to work this out. And Victor, a hat trick round from start to finish. He had so much impact in this one, catching that mid push where I thought maybe Penny would get a timing based on the Trailblazer not detecting him coming out of Ramen. But Victor on the ropes, able to get that, swing back around, catches 2 more, puts Envy to 3, keeps the game close. This is how it started. And then, again, Victor finishing it off as well.
And that is how it ended, which Victor is a player to be highlighted, right? He is the head-to-head. They're both on Raze, both Zelsis and Victor. So we're expecting him to be at the top doing his job as a duelist, and he is doing exactly that thus far, that round being a big one. The economy's still good for version 1. Unfortunately, this might hurt a bit. The boom bot chases him down, and the showstopper goes a bit wide. Not even going to find any splash damage, so an ultimate wasted there.
Yep, Zelsis and company, again, trying to put that mid-pressure in. Trailblazer comes in, lands perfectly. Mummy not going to go off of it. You can understand why. It could have been maybe not the dice roll he was kind of hoping for this early in the round in this type of moment with the credits. But here comes the blast packing. Showstopper right past Mummy. Able to stop it. Effie's able to get the entry onto B Heaven. Onto Mummy to trade it back, but still no real progress made onto the site just yet, and Victor still stands firm here in the stairs.
And that is not a crosshair you want to walk into. Penny's already done that, and Crashes get caught trying to come up the rope. Victor now might find a bit of action in this round, playing still towards those Heaven stairs. He is going to back away as they look to split it up, and the Cosmic Divide actually used over towards A, so it might be enough to buy a rotation. Envy, they're privy to this. They're just going to hold it down.
Yeah, they're not buying it. They are not even remotely thinking about it. And this kind of has a different type of impact. What if this Astra gets all the way around and backstabs him and still allows him to pinch B? The problem is his spike is isolated, and it's in a lot of trouble. But it dashes right by Finesse. It has a chance
he
now.
Just has to run.
Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. Does he's not? Oh my god, that's so close.
Wow. I mean, Finesse doing everything he could. He found that first kill on the spike carrier, couldn't find the next. Miss Penny doing a great job just getting away. Catch me if you can, he says, as the spike does get planted. Victor holding things down up in Heaven. Whippy has since made his way all the way around, was playing over towards that B site. Now playing back towards screens. Has the Viper's Pit available and is going to choose to use it, but this is going to force them to either come from Heaven or towards A main, and Penny is here to shut him down. It's a 3K for the Jet.
Nicely done by Penny. Again, just sprinting whenever we saw Vanity clear out a site. Again, kind of using that Cosmic Divide as somewhat of a fake, but also a way to maybe backstab and clear the site. Does just that. Penny able to dash, get the plant with about a second and a half to spare, and then comes up big in the end to finish it off with a hat trick of his own. Maybe responding to Victor's in the previous. And now they will hold Envy off from time the game. They build the lead up to 5-3. Money's still available for some of Envy, so they are going to get a few rifles in play, but Mummy just on the daggers. Caboose just on the frenzy. Oh!
Wow.
You love to see it and hate to see it at the same time, man. Just depends on your perspective, I suppose, as he's not done yet either. Finds Finesse.
And that was, I believe, 2 of 3 rifles in that round. Caboose able to pick something up. It's the pistol to get it done, but that's going to be just about it. Crashy's there to swing on the outside. He's going to toss out the Hawk. They don't look away, and Penny finds another 3K. Mummy could go good for 3. Has the daggers, full HP, and a whole lot of utility to use. The spike yet to be planted. There's the resurrection, and now things get a whole lot more difficult for the Jet.
Indeed, they do. By a solid percentage. Would you say 25%?
It's
I don't know. I'm not supposed to be doing math on the fly. It's the worst nightmare. Speaking of nightmares, I mean, it's kind of one of those rounds where I feel like they were fairly invested. I mean, they went all the way in as best they could, but they were still well behind when it was all said and done. And now they are going to finally get the operator on Mummy. It's sad it's taken till round 10 to finally let him have it, but that's just the situation they've been in with these rounds being so close and it being kind of back and forth and their economy just never really being there. But the problem is they can't really buy around it so much. Like, it's going to be Spectres only for everyone else. There is a Neural Theft and Seekers available, so there might be able to work something out based on that, but at least you give your star a shot to be a star, if that makes any sense. I don't know if you call him former star. I guess he's been somewhat overshadowed, as Bach was kind of indicating the selflessness of the player to take up more supportive roles and facilitate people like Victor and such to kind of take on that role. But now he is on this map, their star with this op. What impact can he have?
Oh, spotted out. Behind the box there is Victor. Paint Shell's going to go up top, try and push him away. Nice little bit of chip damage. 70 health remaining on the raise for Envy. He backs away, and that spike moves on over. Vanity is going to get tagged up. A very scary spot to be inside the cage. Up on top of heaven was a 70 HP raise, and he's still able to find a kill from the grave. And there's the operator online. Mummy picks up one, looks to reposition as Penny holds things down on the side. Is going to use that cloud burst to get the spike down. It is a 3v3 with the Seekers online. You're going to know exactly where they're headed. Paranoia to cut the lights out. Penny looking to swing. The run-in gun is there, but now in a 1v2, Vanity has to get something done, and there's the star shining bright.
Like I said, it's always a treat when you do get to see Mummy op. I feel like people have forgotten at times just how good he is with that weapon and just how good he can be as that, jet op. Yeah, I mean, you got guys out there like Wardell, like Shazam. There's several others that you would point to that do a great job with it, but Mummy's right up there with him when he gets the opportunity to play it. It's just, again, he's had to do other things, help facilitate the team on other maps with other players and how all the roles kind of shake down. But finally, with an op in his hands, and a round that was labored. Again, they had to get Spectres to surround it. It wasn't ideal. He gets a big triple, and he holds off V1 from building up a bigger lead, and this allows him to collect some weapons, It allows him to kind of now get into more of a full buy type situation. Grevwell there to try to slow down Envy being aggressive at B lobby, ensures that V1 will do it. Daggers in play for Penny. Looking to try to just get in here. But the Trailblazer's going to detect this.
And maybe only spots one, maybe two on the dash on through. There's the barrier orb going to be used to try and stop the spray.
What a well-timed paint shell, though.
And that buys just some more space. The spike yet to be planted, as we do see it finally going down. FB's going to be doing that. Penny's going to go wide with the daggers to start things off, but Vanity and Victor going to work. It's a couple of kills going back and forth, and Victor finds a third, looks for some more, but he gets sat down. The showstoppers have just been so lackluster thus far. And speaking of showstoppers, Zelsis looking to put on a show. A 1v2, a couple of blast packs to his name. And time on his side. He's going to get spotted out by Finesse. He takes down the operator, and he's still so incredibly healthy. He hears the drop down, the blast pack peak, but Finesse closes it out.
Indeed, plenty of time to get this diffuse off. A battle of two different boom bots. One getting stuck in a grab well for 90% of its life. The other getting a frag. And Envy able to make that retake work. It came down to a 1v1 in the end, which is closer than I would have expected. It seemed like that Caboose and Crashy's combo with the Trailblazer and Paranoia was great. I thought that paint shell that came over the wall was going to be a little bit more devastating than it was, but you could just see that there was just a scrap, and Victor really getting two massive kills that really kind of set the pace for Envy to make that retake work. They'll keep the operator in Mummy's hands. They're still having to rebuy Spectre still because these rounds are coming so close, and the credits are just so fragile. But the thing is, they're able to at least still have a pretty good full buy coming into this last round, and a chance to still tie this game up before we switch sides. Oh, what?
6-6 is a whole lot better this time around for Envy, since the last two times these teams meet, as the controllers are going to meet, and unfortunately, Caboose meets his fate. He will fall. Whippy to pick that one up as the toxic screen stays alive for a moment longer. Zelsis might not say the same. 44 HP and no way to heal up.
Dude.
Never mind. There is the healing orb available.
Yeah, that op shot missed by Mummy allows him to get B heaven really fast, and the B defense was not really ready for it. Now we see Crashy's isolated with the smoke there in the back hall. If he's good for one at least, that's about the best he kind of could have hoped for given the situation of just being stranded. But Envy's starting to fight back. Victor fights Effie's. It's back into a 3 versus 3. How have they done this? They actually still have a shot at it now.
And it was a cloudburst battle through the smoke for Crashies, and this time it was a battle through the dark cover. Now the Cosmic Divide going to be used, and this is one of very few instances where we get to see this ultimate. But how can they play off the back end? There's no real way to push your way through outside of just dashing through. You don't have a curveball, you don't have a flash, you don't have any of the sky smokes, no guiding lights, but you do have Mummy only for a moment. Now Vanity in a 1v1 needs to go huge against Finesse here. It's the captain for Envy. It's the spray down for Vanity, and it's 7-5 at the half for version 1.
Yeah, IGL versus IGL. As you said, that Cosmic Divide can be really difficult to push through in a retake. You do see Mummy go out top with the daggers and is able to get his teammate into a 1v1 where you had, you know, to force the peak with the defusal, but Vanity still coming out on top. And a very close half when it's all said and done. Again, both these teams usually a bit better on the defense, and the fact that Envy defensively got limited to 5 rounds is a little bit tough, honestly. I mean, again, you consider that they're like 66% win rate defensively. That's definitely leaving you kind of to wonder.
The last time they met, Envy picked up 1 round on defense. Now, it was a little different story. It was 10-2 at the half, and it was their rifle round against the bonus that they ended up winning.
Right.
But this bodes incredibly well to get this start. Now you can see that the adjustments have been made. Caboose taking a very aggressive position, getting all the way through with the shrouded steps up towards Raptors. He is going to be answered back. The one and done position does its job as Vanity is taken down to 49 HP. Victor trying to find the spray down. Vanity is actually the one to find that kill. We're back and forth. Whippy picks one up, and Mummy has to go clutch again. He's got 1 HP. It's only going to take 1 shot to the head to sit Penny down as the defuse comes through. It is just going to be a fake for now. They're playing the ring around the Rosie, around the pillar, and Mummy's A-okay to play this game. It doesn't bother him at all as the Cloudburst goes through. Another tap on it, and Mummy doesn't have the shots. It's Penny instead, and it's version 1 again to find the pistol.
Yeah, on their favored side, defense, and able to get the pistol to kick things off in the right direction. With that plan, Envy has some options. Not sure how aggressive they want to be with their spending, though. Kind of a precarious place to be. You want to make sure you can get your full buy out as soon as possible when you're playing from behind and you're on the half where, again, they're not as strong as their defense. And so they will indeed just kind of go for the frenzy there on Finesse. Not going to invest too much into this one. Just a couple of upgraded pistols here and there. Maybe a couple of abilities being purchased. And that's going to leave V1 in a great spot to go ahead and find 9, you'd have to imagine.
That's gonna Giving away the cards. He has a frenzy. Oh, the shrouded step this time going to be right in the face of Vanity, and they're just running at the guns of Version1. No hope to hurt the economy here as a flawless round in response. It's what you expect in the anti-eco, but not what you were hoping for if you're an Envy fan.
No, not at all. Again, when you think about Envy's track record, Split has been at the top of their pool. They've only dropped it a couple of times really this whole year, right? They lost to Sentinels in the quarterfinals of Winter Championship. They lost to Immortals in a very, tight game, and then they had that one big loss to Version1, but they've beaten XSET 4 times. They've beaten Renegades, Energy, LG, Equinox. I mean, you name it, they've really been putting in the work on this map. It's a big part of why they've been so successful, and it's betraying them right now in such a big moment, at least for now. But that's just their end of it. Obviously, V1, to their credit, played a brilliant attacking side. We're able to get a lot out of their aggression.
Victor following close behind the Boombot. He's going to grab full control of ropes here. Doesn't mean control of A Heaven. The rest of the squad up towards mid. Trying to fight for that B Heaven control. They do blast their way through that barrier. That's not going to be Sanctuary any longer. The brakes are going to be hit. Effys tosses out his last slow orb. A Nebula Smoke just for a second. It is going to be pulled back. But they're buying, again, so much time. The delay tactics here from the defense of Version1 really doing their job. And we've seen multiple times just throughout the history, Effys able to buy a bit more time, jump peeking. Now they know the hit's going to be on the site. But again, you do not want to be playing against this clock. You do not want to have to force the plant. Delsis and Effys going to go good for a couple of kills. Victor battles it back all by himself. He picks up 3. He's got 1 HP. A favorable trade overall towards Envy as the spike gets planted. Now in a 2v1. Victor will finally fall. Bulldog from Whippy takes him down. Things are even.
Indeed, Victor's done a great job putting his team into a spot where they could maybe put a stop to V1. This 2v2 retake is looking a lot like V1 don't want anything to do with it. When they're taking their time here, making sure they're not getting flanked. Now they start making their way in. They're taking a long time, though, to start pressing the site. There's the Hilo stack in the back. The Astra utility comes in, a good little stun. But Envy and company battle their way through, still get the frag. Now all on Whippy, and that is just such a tough spray transfer to try to make. You can't really fault them for that one. What a round from Envy, and a lot of it is off of Victor.
This was absolutely huge. It was 2 quick kills battled back, and then finding a third right here.
That's unreal.
It's all you could ask for.
I mean, it looked like the best round for Envy at the jump. Like, I love that they were really struggling. I mean, the grav well was slowing them down. It seemed like V1 had a pretty good read on how they were rotating and preparing for that attack, but sometimes a guy just breaks loose and makes a big individual play, and Victor has been such a strong duelist in the scene for such a long time.
Now, that was the bonus for Version1, so the firepower was in favor. It doesn't really excuse the falling to Victor.
This
3
was
players doing just that.
So they boosted Vanity with the blast back into the corner. So if they test B, and they go through B lobby, and they don't, and they see, like, Raze somewhere else, would they would never expect Vanity to be in that corner, right?
Yeah, same. I mean, similar thing to what we saw Cloud9 doing earlier, where if you see the Jet, you see the Raze, you think, okay, there's no way somebody's boosted, and it's the dynamic defense.
Yeah, so, again, if you spot Raze anywhere else on the map, and then you decide to go ahead and attack into B, it's just not going to maybe expect Vanity to be there. But it may not come into play. I just think it's kind of a neat trick that could eventually have impact.
There's the Jet. So I would think now the spike headed over towards A, but that was all the information gathered that Version1, I guess, needed to give away for them to try and make a play with Vanity up in the corner. Unfortunately, the spike's going the opposite direction, but the paint shells were there. They spotted Penny on the cross, and they are going to just head the other way with both duelists there. Whippy through the smokes, able to find Victor. Mummy looking to go aggressive, though. This time the right click lands true for 2. Effys to sit him down, but we're even in a 3v3 and that spike to be planted.
What a wild headshot to get if you're Whippy there. It looked like he was still just full sprinting and just catches like a crazy headshot kind of through his smoke a bit. So keeps his team in a even 3-on-3 because of that frag. on this retake. Great paranoia slowing down, though. This screens rotation from V1. Double corner positions here from Envy. Can they stop this push? They need to stop the V1 getting double digits.
Finesse inside the Nebula smoke. Swap on the weapon from Effie's. Looks to find the first kill. Caboose is going to trade it back. Finesse pushes out, and now we find ourselves just to Caboose because they mowed him down. The hold is there in the post plan, and Envy will pick up another.
So Envy are chipping away at this big lead. Again, both these teams known mostly for their defenses on Split, as a lot of teams, honestly, had that defensive kind of sway, as the map just kind of designed that way, really. But here we go. Envy on the verge of tying this thing up. V1 don't have much to say about it this round. They do have the judge on Whippy. They have some upgraded pistols here and there, but that's really about it. Victor and Mummy and company are really starting to heat up after maybe some slower starts than what we would have expected. Viper's Pit being sent here by Whippy to try to defend A and allow his team to gamble a bit more towards B in middle, seeing as they don't have as much to work with. This is kind of how you have to play it to give yourself a chance.
This could have been a really cool play if they put Vanity back in that corner and then use that Viper's Pit over towards A, right? Because then it kind of forces a B hit. Even if that site is stacked, we wouldn't have that rotate back to A. Obviously, that is not going to be the case. But corralled for now are Envy up towards B heaven. Our cover going to come on through and try and buy a bit of space and a bit of time. Cloudburst tossed out, but they just have no way in here.
They threw everything in the kitchen sink at B heaven right there. I mean, slow orbs, paint shells, you name it. V1 tossed it, and it does force Envy to reroute. They're still looking for the B split, but they're now going to have to pivot a little bit more towards B main itself. Vanity trying to set up some stars to maybe try countering this push out of B heaven. We do see Victor, though, looking to blast back his way to the showstopper. It's going to land the mark onto Effie's, and he still stands to do more. Zeus is the only frag that happens on the B side in favor of V1, but that changes now with Whippy. But it may not matter.
Yeah, Penny just getting timing there, trying to sneak away from the Seekers. The dink comes through. Crashy finds 4 on the round. Now the lead, only 1 for version 1, and it was looking pretty good for a second. Envy, they've definitely done their research. They've done their homework. They've made adjustments, and they made Split a lot closer of an affair this time around.
Yeah, indeed, that's Crashy's the other kind of star for my money on Envy. Probably, I mean, he's no doubt top 3 Sova in the region. It's hard to say who's number 1 for sure, but Crashy's definitely gonna have to be up there. But he's also been able to implement Sky very effectively on this map, and again, he's like top 5 in ADR and ACS for the tournament so far here in the Challengers Final. So definitely one of those guys that can support his team while also fragging out. That's a big quad kill from him that round to help this, push forward from Envy to tie this thing up. Full buy though, back in the play, and Caboose puts it right between Vanity's eyes through the smoke. A devastating blow to V1 as they try to hold off this comeback effort from Envy.
And Resurrection available, but not safe enough to go for it just yet until they get a bit of information that nobody's playing that B main area and holding that. So it is going to come through. This is a big round to pick up. This is version 1 back on rifles. Penny able to find 1, putting things back in version 1's favor because of that resurrection. We're not all even across the board. Nice gravity well, slow orb, paint shells, but the shots are on target. Caboose has his teammates back. Unfortunately, Victor does eventually fall, and that still leaves version 1 in the driver's seat.
It does, indeed. We're seeing Envy still try to test the waters. Mummy dashing through with that smoke, but no such ability for Caboose. And now Penny and Effie's will clean things up. No tie yet, at least, as V1 will win the race to double digits here, jumping up to 10. Envy, of course, still have buying power, but a couple of their players actually a little bit less for wear on credits than maybe you'd think. As V1 just put up such a stout defense, a tactical coming out from Envy to maybe figure out how they want to spend those credits and how they want to work this out, because it's getting to a place where it's starting to get to kind of your last chance, at least for Split. And so they will indeed get a rifle for Crashies at least. There's definitely enough money for Mummy to go for whatever he so chooses. Victor, could still pretty much do armor, whatever rifle he wants. But it's really Finesse and Caboose that are going to have to go, like pistol or whatever the case may be. So they're going to go with the Crashy's Raid Boss play. They're going to go Sheriff everyone else. And, of course, they have Finesse's, Neural Theft. Crashy's just not too far off Seekers so they can get an orb. Makes me wonder, Mummy had the most credits and still only bought a Sheriff. Is he trying to maybe op next round? Obviously, opping on attacking side isn't as popular as defense, but Mummy's definitely one of those guys that could be an X factor with it.
Yeah, we saw the impact. I believe he only had it a couple of times, or at the very least was only able to use
Like
it
twice
a couple of
in
times.
the first half, yeah.
Yeah, it was. I think the first time he was in a retake situation, and that's when he used the knives, and unfortunately the knives went a little wide.
I want to say it was round 10 before he got an operator in his hands in the first half. So, yeah, definitely didn't get to put his best foot forward as far as what he's really capable of.
Don't give them ground.
I think what's even more interesting is it's not Penny with the op on version 1, it's Whippy. Oh, so much information. Zelsis, they're trying to do something cheeky here. Unfortunately, gonna get sniffed out by the Trailblazer, and the shots come through. Mummy finds one, looking for some more. The flash, though, it's a self-flash, and Zelsis continues to frag out here. Vanity right there behind him, and they try to make it explosive. They tried to make it quick. It was just the operator over here towards this A site, and it does fall into the hands of Finesse.
That's
but the
big.
spike way down by the spawn. And if you're Finesse right now, if you're an Envy fan, if you're Envy anything, you're really hoping that he makes it away with this one, because version 1 are on the hunt.
Yeah, I mean, getting that op over to the next round and allowing more credits to be spent to maybe drop people other weapons or prioritize other abilities would definitely be pretty huge. But yeah, just never going to happen, is it? That would have been a nice bonus, right? But there's still money is there if they want an operator. That's kind of why Mummy, didn't really go for it. And yeah, 6,400 credits. I mean, honestly, with the way things are going, I wouldn't mind seeing it. Again, I know it's not as popular on the attack, but Mummy is that kind of player that can make magic happen, and maybe that's the adjustment they need to make to keep this comeback pushing forward. So we do have a bit of a tech pause this time around, so hopefully that won't take too long.
I wonder if that's why the operator died to the Sheriff. Not to take anything away from Finesse in that round. We just didn't get to see it, and that it does seem fairly unlikely. In that long-range battle, you would definitely put the operator ahead. In terms of, I guess, momentum, right? We're obviously seeing a lot closer affair this time around on Split. I think this bodes very well because this is the first map. So you've got some breathing room if you're version 1, right? Last time Split was map number 2, and then you kind of go into that do or die. Here we go. We need to reverse sweep in our best of 3. This is a great way, if they do close out this game, to get the series started, to kind of, I guess, relieve some of the pressure, because they do have 2 more maps to look at. They do have 1 map that they can drop. Obviously, that's not the case. You don't want that, but I think it definitely helps in a situation where there's already so much pressure just because of the stakes.
Yeah, that's fair. A little bit of buzzkill this tech pause. We're in the thick of it, man. We're chomping at the bit to get back going. So much on the line. Envy, again, a team you really think would have been in the upper bracket for longer than they were, have been able to kind of grind their way forward. But V1 is, again, that team that hasn't been around too long, but have already kind of made a little bit of noise throughout the VCT, I feel like. Again, qualifying for Challengers 1 by beating up teams like Renegades and FaZe. Had some wins over BBG and Cloud9 in the main event of Challengers 1. That's how they were able to start working their way towards being a part of this Challengers Finals. And I mean, again, there's some players on there that have been performing, right? I mean, Zelsis and Penny in particular have been big names. They have a couple of experienced players along the way also. And yeah, you really think that Envy coming in as a pretty heavy favorite, but again, Split is kind of like one of the maps you put them to use as leverage from that favorite position, and they have already lost to version 1 once on this map in such a one-sided fashion. but it never really failed you anywhere else on a regular basis, and now it's coming back to haunt you again. The thing is, it's not as if they don't have a mess that they can play very well. I mean, they've definitely been, you know, pretty solid on bind lately, I would say. Like, that's definitely been like another pretty go-to map for them. So, I mean, they have other options, but yeah, Split, you would think they get it done. I mean, they've lost their last 4 games in a row on Ascent, so that's kind of been a struggle for them lately. And you kind of wonder, like, where else were you supposed to go? So they've lost the last 3 out of 4 Icebox games as well. So it seems like they've had a couple other sides of their map will kind of crumble. And so, again, you expect Split to be it for them. And it still could be. Don't get me wrong. They're still in the hunt. They're not out of it just yet. They have a full buy coming up here after this tech pause. And that's Last Chance Saloon, though.
Yeah, it really is. 11-8, the score line. So, yeah, you lose this one, and then it's sticks and stones. It's the yard sale buy coming in to map point, which would be, you know, again, I think what this shows is the adjustments made. It's not the same 13-4 that we saw version 1 over Envy, which probably bodes well for the next couple of maps.
Right.
And I think looking into Haven 2, Envy, I feel like throughout the existence of time, have been in North America one of the most consistent teams, and I feel like one of the better, like, defaulty teams, playing that slow style, right? Letting Finesse kind of work his magic, work his brain as the brain of the team. And Haven is a map where you can start to do that. So I think if they do fall here, things look pretty good going into that one, but I don't want to knock anybody out just yet because we do still have this one underway. We're back in it. The players are all on the line, and it is, in fact, an operator in the hands of Mummy here.
Indeed, kind of what we thought based on the purchasing of the previous round, how many creds he had to spare. They're trying to work their way up middle right now. Zels is coming into vents. The smoke fade timing could be pivotal. Effie's boosting over the top of another smoke to try to get some vision onto middle. Not going to happen. In the meantime, Crashies takes Zelsis out in that vent position. So that's going to give some map control to Envy plus man advantage here early in this round. And they haven't even had to show their hand about that operator yet. And now that neural theft comes into play.
And I mean, not too telling, right? Just because you are a player ahead, it doesn't mean taking either of these sites is free. It's a 2-2 split, so they do still have to do their due diligence, making sure they're pushing up nice and slow. Mummy kind of being that tip of the spear. Crashies right there to swing should they need it. And there it is. The wall goes down, and it's not Crashies, it's Victor right behind Mummy to pick up a couple of kills. And, I mean, off the back end of a tactical, off the back end of a technical, looking to make things flawless.
Yeah, it's looking pretty darn good. They barely even lost health. Victor taking a couple little licks here and there, but nothing really to speak of. And so looking pretty solid for Envy to hang on. Stop V1 from getting to that map point as it continues to go flawless. Whippy just trying to save this operator, but he's going to get pinched. Now they know where he is. Can he take anybody with him is the question. The answer? A resounding nah, Chief.
Nah, Chief.
I feel like that maybe was not the, you know, best, but I felt like no would just be too boring.
True. I mean, it got the point across.
It did.
Added a bit of flavor on it. I think this right here, I love this replay because this was another time that version 1 tried to do something a little wonky with the barrier orb, and it just didn't work. Zelsis got spotted out by the Trailblazer in rounds previous, and then Effie's kind of gives himself up, shooting a little too prematurely there, and there's just not much you can do off the back end of that. So it just stinks that they're going for creativity as the Jiggle Peaks come through from Crashies. They get the information. At least one playing up. Now two, if they spotted out that it was the Sage, they know that also the Raze is here, so Zelsis is no longer in ropes.
Right. Doubling up on that B Heavens defense here is going to be V1. Put that wall up, though, to block off that mailroom access. In the meantime, Envy just reinforcing their mid control with the Boombot to clear out vent position. They're setting up for a B split. At least that seems to be the thought, but they're going to feint A Heaven first. They're going to try to put that pressure there, maybe keep people in place, maybe even cause a bit of a rotation, threaten that ropes rotation. But it seems like, based on the positioning of this operator and Caboose, that they do eventually want to try to lay into this area. They're setting up Mummy for the pick, and they have no idea he's going to swing out. And he catches the timing, and to do that through 2 Astra Stars just sitting there, that's bold, and it worked. Because, I mean, at any moment they could have set off, and it would have ruined them.
Another kill to come on through. It's Victor and Crashies. To answer back, this is the dynamic duo that we talked about Both getting picked up together, playing for this team now. Crashes, unfortunately, to fall. Victor not there to trade it out. Penny spots the spike down on the A side. Mummy with the operator. Up close and personal, wins the battle, and Vanity with just a Spectre has 3 to worry about right in front of him, and more directly, Victor right in front of him. He will fall. Envy, they match the double digits, but they still trail by 1.
Indeed they do. That 1 stops the tie, but they're stampeding towards it, and credits are starting to run a little bit low here for V1. Again, Mummy gets an operator in his hands, and he's had impact ever since on this attacking side. Victor continues to be strong. Again, one of those top 5 players so far in the tournament, and most metrics. Continues to pop off. He's at 19, Mummy just behind at 18. Pretty good production out of the whole lineup, really. Starting to matching, Vanity, Penny, and Whippy and company that's been, popping off on the opposing side. And now they have Victor's Showstopper as an option to blast pack and flash and dash into this beast fight against a low buy. A chance to tie this thing up here and now, Tanner. You'd like their odds.
It's not a full stack. It's a B split, 2-2, 2 on site, 2 in heaven. One gonna drop down, Victor to fall, and Zelsa's picked one up with the paint shells. Whippy to sit it down. Unfortunately, the Showstopper doesn't find the kill, but they've already done so much damage. And what is Valorant, Dust? What is going on? This was Envy's round to win, and they're down to their last 2.
It was. They dove for the flash and dash with the blast packs of Victor, but he never uses a Showstopper. He just tries to go in with the rifle, and he misses his kill. Victor collects nothing. And so V1 responds with 3 quick kills, and now Penny pushes down middle with the daggers, and they get a flawless victory on what was essentially their save. This couldn't have gone worse for Envy. They can re-afford the Mummy operator, but now they have to just try to force overtime. That crumbled so hard.
I should play some Astro Stars in this reality.
And now V1 called a tactical to ice the kicker a little bit here, and what can be a very clutch moment. And I would have never expected that result based on how Envy were setting up, based on V1's positioning and firepower. I really would have thought the Showstopper comes out. Maybe Victor just hoping to save it for like the next rifle round instead. But you got to land the mark with the rifle if you're going to play it that way. And he just, again, he misses the mark. Creates the opportunity for V1.
And now, so for this tactical, it makes me wonder how much of it is just to regain composure, right?
I'm sure
because
a lot of it, yeah.
I can't speak for everybody in the scene when it comes to players, and I apologize, I'm outing myself a little bit. I didn't really follow CSGO esports too directly. It wasn't something that I was always watching constantly, so a lot of the names do escape me when it comes to outside of the larger names in it. But this event right here, for a lot of these players, is quite possibly the biggest they've ever been able to play in, and the stakes are the highest they've ever been. So when you're looking at map 1, 12-10, version 1, making this run against this Envy squad, you have to think there's so many things running through their minds.
No, that's fair. As we see them break the wall and try to start coming into A. They're trying to creep in on Effie's here. Effie spots it, though. Responds well. Penny peeks out the operator as well. It looks like it's going to be the beginning of the end for Split for Envy.
And Vanity had a huge flank there. Mummy trying to be the hero that this team needs. Picks up the first, but needs to find 4 more. Penny low on HP. He's going to spot him out. The high to low. It goes the way of Mummy. The operator in hand. The dash on through. Has the spike in hand, but it's looking to get crazy. Unfortunately, it's not crazy enough. Effie's closes it out. Version 1 close it out, and they grab map 1.
Indeed, they do. That was something. You really felt like Envy's comeback was building. You know, you really felt like the snowball was starting to turn into an avalanche. But that one little anti-eco on that B site push pretty much ruined everything. And V1, again, played so well. They have turned Split in a quick amount of time into a very powerful map for them, so much that they were confident to pick it, and they were able to pull it out. And the thing is, Haven's up next, and this is another pretty good map for version 1, honestly. I mean, I know that they lost to Envy a little bit earlier on in the month of April, but it was a fairly close game. It wasn't a blowout by any means, and honestly, Haven hasn't been like a dominant map for Envy like the last couple of months. They've actually been, you know, kind of hit or miss lately with it. So man, there's actually a chance we might be seeing Envy bowing out, despite the fact they were kind of one of the other favorites still left remaining in the tournament. So, man, you know, a nice story for V1 again, kind of one of those other dark horse type situations versus a favorite. And man, this at least it got competitive, right? I mean, but just yeah, it's kind of wild to see it play out that way. But I'm kind of excited for Version1, this new team coming together fast and getting good quick, right? I mean, they're evolving without too much struggle.
And the pacing was strange, but either way, Version1 got it done 13-10 on Split. We've got 2 maps to go on the horizon, but before we get there, we have to jump to a quick break. We'll see you guys in just a sec.